So Representative Wazlawik, you are first up. Would you like to move House File 2003 to bring it before the committee?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I would make that motion.
Thank you so much. And I understand. Actually, maybe what we'll do is have you give a bit of background, and then you can move the A2 amendment. I guess however you prefer to do that. But I should note, just as I turn things to you, Representative Wazlawik, how grateful I am to you for co-chairing the Family Child Care Task Force, which this bill comes out of. Also want to note the participation of Representative Dameth as well. I know we'll have more conversation, but we've really been awaiting this day for a while, because this is a day where we're focusing quite a bit on our family child care providers who do such critical work. So Representative Wazlawik, take it away, and we'll do the A2 amendment however you'd like to.
Sure. Yeah, I can give a little background on how we got here, and then we can do the A2 amendment. So House File 2003 is essentially it's the recommendations, legislative recommendations coming out of the Family Child Care Task Force. And the Family Child Care Task Force was part of legislation in 2019. It was established in statute, and the purpose was to sort of bring together a lot of the people, the players involved, I guess you could say, in family child care. And so this included a whole bunch of providers from across the state, licensors, DHS staff, and then folks from various organizations and nonprofits that work with childcare and family childcare providers across the state. So it's a really, really comprehensive group of folks who came together, and we had 8 duties that were laid out in statute, and we worked from 2019 until early 2021 to sort of go deeper on those the issues that were sort of noted for us to concentrate on, and then we put out an interim report in 2020, and then continued our work through the pandemic virtually to put out our sort of final report early this year. So that's sort of how we got here. We had sort of tackled a variety of issues ranging from licensing to business supports for providers, and lots of other things. So that's sort of wide range of duties that we looked at, a wide range of issues. Certainly not every single issue that's ever come up in conversations with providers, but a pretty broad swath of things. So that's sort of how we got here today. And Mr. Chair, with that, I would move the A2 amendment.
Okay, if you could just let us know just about the content of that amendment. Remember, this is an author's amendment just to put the bill in the shape that the author wishes. But if you could just let us know that, Representative Wazlawik.
Yep, thank you, Mr. Chair. So essentially, the A2 amendment is a variety of things. It removes things that were not recommendations of the task force. There were a few things that got put into the bill when it was drafted that were not recommendations that were made by the full task force. Those things were removed, as well as things that didn't fit exactly with what we were trying to do. So those are some of the major changes. We also added in a couple of things that were missing from the bill. And then we made some tweaks to language based on technical assistance by DHS. So that's sort of the overview of what that amendment does.
Okay, thank you. Any questions regarding the motion? And so, hearing none, all in favor of approval of the amendment to put the bill in the form that the author wishes, please say aye.
Aye.
Any no? Okay, so the motion prevails, and the bill has now been amended. And then Representative Wazlawik, I don't know if you would like to do any further presentation on the bill. I think it does make sense for somebody to do a walkthrough, and we could have you do that. We can ask Ms. Mock to do that because there are a number of provisions, and I know we have a couple testifiers as well.
Yeah, I think it might be helpful to have Ms. Mock walk through the bill and sort of talk about what's in it and how they match up with recommendations. And I will say there are a couple of things that we're still working on with DHS. I think 1 or 2 particular recommendations that we just didn't have enough time to sort of flesh out to get in here, but those will be part of the continuing conversation. So I will turn it over to Ms. Mock.
Good, and as we do that, I'll point out, I believe, Ms. Mock, there is a bill summary that reflects the bill as amended by the amendment that was just adopted. So that is, again, members of the public, that's on our website. I direct members' attention to that as well. And it kind of walks through. But Ms. Mock, if you could please do a quick walk through the bill, I'd appreciate that.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, members. The first article of the bill has 2 sections. Section 1 and 2 are both have to do with the Family Child Care Regulation Modernization Project, which is a standalone bill that we've also heard in committee. The second article of the bill has to do with changing the tort liability for municipalities. And this is a provision that has to do with changing how municipalities are liable or not for, particularly for when variances are granted to childcare providers. The third article is a number of recommendations related to, well, the first one, section 1, has to do with creating a family child care one-stop assistance network. So this directs DHS to develop a proposal to create a regional assistance network so that child care providers can use it to gain the help that they need for their work. And this proposal has to be developed by DHS by January 1st of 2022. The second proposal is one that is not currently in the Senate bill, and this is a recommendation for to DHS to develop orientation training for newly licensed child care providers, in particular to help them understand the different rules in statute or the different requirements in statute and rules. The third and fourth sections of Article 3 have to do with appropriations. The first one is an appropriation for child provider grants, and this is it's a blank appropriation for a grant to DEED to provide to help local communities increase the supply of child care providers. Section 4 is an appropriation again to DEED, and this is for a competitive grant to a nonprofit organization to do some to create a business training program for child care providers. Article 4. The first section of Article 4 adds a definition of family child care or group family child care provider to a section of statute. And this section of statute uses these terms, but doesn't currently have a definition. So this adds the definition of family child care provider and group family child care program. It also adds a definition of special family child care program. That's in section 2. And then and that additional definition relates to what is happening in section 3 of this article, which basically modifies existing statute and sort of breaks up existing statute into a new part. And so this section 3 basically governs licensing for what is now called a special family child care program, which refers to programs that are operated in a dwelling other than the license holder's own residence. And then if you go down to section 4, this creates a new term in statute, alternative child care program, and discusses the licensing for these programs. And basically, this section 4 copies text that's in current statute and just moves it over and gives it a new name. Section 5 is a technical correction to a statutory reference that was needed because of the changes in section 3 and section 4. And then Article 5 has to do with the Parent Aware, the quality rating and improvement system in Minnesota. So section 1 directs DHS to arrange an independent evaluation of the Parent Aware. And section 2 is an appropriation for that evaluation. And this is the language that was in a bill, I believe we heard a few weeks ago, House File 1876. Article 6 has to do largely with training requirements for licensed family child care providers. So section 1 has to do with allowing family child care providers to count up to 2 hours of training instruction toward their annual 16-hour training requirement. Section 2 adds some types of courses that licensed family child care providers can count toward their active supervision training requirement. And then section 3 creates a family child care training advisory committee, which is intended to be formed to advise DHS on the different training requirements for licensed family child care providers. And then DHS is required to report to the legislator about the recommendations that it receives. And the committee expires on December 1st of 2025. And then Article 7 has 2 sections. Section 1 establishes an ombudsperson for child care providers. And section 2 provides an appropriation for that ombudsperson. And this language is the same as the language that we'll hear for House File 61 today.
Thank you, Ms. Mock. I'll note a number of the provisions are contained in other bills we've either heard or we'll be hearing the one bill, House File 61, about the ombudsperson shortly. One thing, Ms. Mock, I think that you may have misspoken, but please correct me, or if we can just clarify this. You mentioned the Family Child Care Regulation Modernization Bill having been heard previously, and I believe what we heard was the Child Care Center Regulation Modernization Bill. And so this, okay, good. I can see you nodding. So, okay. So just confirming everyone then that we heard one bill on regulation modernization. That's hard to say, on child care centers previously. We're now hearing the provision regarding family child care. So let me think. Representative Wazlawik.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just wanted to also, there are a couple of recommendations that are moving as standalone bills that are not included in this larger bill. So the retain and teach. The retain grant and teach scholarship funding, and then the modernization regularization also is a standalone bill. And there might be one more that I'm missing off the top of my head, but so there are a couple of pieces that are also moving separately that aren't in here, but we've heard them and we've discussed them. So just wanted to point that out as well.
Thank you. We do have several testifiers. I'll just see if there's any clarification questions from Ms. Mock. Obviously, we'll have a committee discussion as well. So I'm not seeing any. And so why don't we go to the first testifier, who is Kim. If Representative Wazlawik, is that okay to move to testifiers now? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So Ms. Leopold, we'll start with you if you can identify yourself for the record. But reminder to all testifiers that we'll ask you to keep things fairly brief if you can. We will have a packed agenda, but we want to get to hear from you. So Ms. Leopold, if you can identify yourself and proceed.
Chairperson Pinto and committee members, I'm Kim Leopold, and I'm representing the Association of Minnesota Family Child Care Licensors, not Dakota County. I'm not always clear about that when I email back and forth, but just make sure that that's known. I'm not representing my county right now. And also my name is spelled L-E-I-P-O-L-D.
Oh. We will get that fixed. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah,
Thanks.
It's okay. Actually, AMFCCL is in support of the draft as it is written. I know that Ms. Wazlawik, Representative Wazlawik, and I had some conversations before this, and the concerns were addressed. And I was looking at something that I was concerned about yesterday, and it seems as it was removed as well. So MFCCL is in support of the bill as it is presented.
Thank you so much. There we go. And so Cindy Cunningham, you are up next. Please identify yourself and proceed.
Yes, Chair Pinto and committee members. My name is Cindy Cunningham. I've been a licensed family child care provider in St. Paul for approximately 25 years, and I am the current public policy chairperson for Minnesota Child Care Provider Information Network, MCPIN, which is the 501c3 association for the state of Minnesota for licensed child care providers. I served as the MCPIN representative of the Family Child Care Task Force over the past 2 years. I'm testifying now in support of the full bill as amended and as the corrections that were made. The bill presented is based on the report of the work of the eight duties of the legislature of the state where we were to address. The task force was the compilation of many entities of family child care. These entities have not worked together in such a deep and broad fashion before. The work stretched us all to consider aspects we've often not aware existed and to work together in a manner which has rarely been seen. Little was left to question as everyone dug into research information and present solutions which are most likely to work in all areas affected. Please support the passing of House File 2003 as it is aligned with amendments. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Cunningham, and thank you for your work and your advocacy. And then our final testifier is Joel Carlson. Please identify yourself and proceed. Glad to have you back.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members. I'm Joel Carlson. I own a legal research and government affairs business in St. Paul, and I'm here on behalf of the Minnesota Association for Justice. And I want to talk just about Article 3 of the proposal as amended, and want you to know that we appreciate the challenges that family child care providers face. It is a difficult task. We understand the shortage, and we certainly applaud your efforts to make life easier for being in this business and providing quality care. Our concerns have been longstanding as it relates to Article 3. Since 1986, the legislature has required county licensing agents to take action when they have actual knowledge of a dangerous condition that could harm a child. And we, through several efforts to repeal and amend that language, have continually spoken against that because we want people to take action when they know of dangerous conditions. The language as amended gets us closer to something that we can work with, because the problem that has arisen as we see it since 2013, as after they made a major revision to family child care, is on the granting of variances. And we don't want the county licensing agent to feel that simply granting a variance in and of itself constitutes actual knowledge of a dangerous condition. And that concept, which was in Representative Wazlalik's amendment, is something that I think we can try and work with. Some of the language in there about being found guilty of malfeasance, those don't really mesh with what we're thinking is an appropriate addition to that section. And all of this is driven by a change in part of it. I shouldn't say all of it. Part of this is driven by a change that was made in 2013 that allowed family child care providers to simply acknowledge to families that they don't carry insurance. And so we have, and it's a form on a box and they check it. And so that has really driven some of the concern, because you're granting variances and you have child care providers, not all of them, many of them carry insurance, but many don't. And the ones that that our members try and represent are the ones that don't have insurance. And when you have a child death, when you have an injury, and you find out that on the intake form they checked the box that said they didn't have insurance and told you that had to do with getting health care, nothing about liability, it's really a problem. And that's an issue that we would like the legislature to address, not necessarily in this bill, but at some point, because it is a problem and we do not mandate insurance. And I'm not suggesting that we need to, but possibly when you're granting a variance, check the box and see if they have insurance. That is a protection for families and for the provider and for the county that I really think we should be considering. Happy to answer questions, Mr. Chairman. This has been a long-standing issue. I've worked on it since 1986 when this section was first adopted, and it is an important protection for children, and we hope we can get it right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carlson. I'm going to call on Lead Franson in just a second, but I wanted to just clarify. I think you may have misspoken, that you made a couple references to Article 3 in the bill. I think perhaps you were talking about Article 2. This relates to licensing of providers, and I just want to make sure that we're clear about.
Well, Mr. Chairman, on the bill as introduced, it's on page 5.19. It's duty number 3, and on the amendment, it is on lines 1.14.
Okay, thanks for doing that. Yeah, and Representative Franson, this is for Mr. Carlson. Your question is?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, please.
Hi. Oh gosh, I'm trying to put the video on. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Carlson, I was a licensed child care provider, as you know, and you and I have gone over this liability insurance. I was kind of taken back at your comment that when you check the box, providers will say this is about health insurance. That is not true. Maybe you've experienced 1 or 2 cases where that is, but over the spectrum of childcare providers, that is not the case. There is a form that we have that clearly says, yes, I have liability insurance, or no, I don't have liability insurance in regards to the childcare business. When I first started my business, I could not afford the liability insurance. I went without liability insurance. Parents got a copy of that. I kept a copy of that. Parents do not leave the interview without knowing if that provider has insurance or not. After a while, after about a year and a half, I did get the insurance, which was an additional, I think, $80-some a month. When you're first starting out with childcare, that $80 is kind of expensive. But to paint the childcare industry licensed home providers as irresponsible, misleading, lying to the parents, I think does a very big disservice to the entire industry. Like I said, you may have had, I'm not calling you a liar, I'm just simply stating that you may have had a case or two where that happened, but overall, the industry is extremely honest and does not mislead by saying, oh, this is all about health insurance. That is ridiculousness.
Mr. Carlson, you want to respond to that? Or at least I want to give you the opportunity if you'd like to.
Well, unfortunately, Representative Franson, the cases that we know about is exactly how that has happened. And as you know, as I talked to you in your office, at least one of those cases were a child death case. And so it is a concern, and I cast no aspersion on any child care providers. I'm telling you what our experience has been. I told you we recognize the challenges daycare providers face, and we applaud your efforts to make it easier for them. The issue of accountability and insurance doesn't at all indicate that that we're suggesting that they're poor providers or negligent providers. The point is that we don't require it and we don't even ask for it. And that's the point we're trying to make. And we said nothing negative about any providers, but I can tell you from sad experience that providers do tell them that it is only related to their health insurance if there's an injury to the child. And we know that for a fact because unfortunately those are death cases that our members have had to deal with.
And back to you, Representative Franson.
Yeah, I think once again, every committee, Mr. Chair, that Joel Carlson testifies in for childcare, he brings up this thing and paints the childcare industry as liars. That is not about health insurance. There is clearly a form that is filled out whether the provider has liability insurance or not. And even, I'm just going off a recollection here, but I think there is amount what that liability insurance, what that coverage is. Providers are not saying on a whole, and he deals with a few people. It's not, I'm just absolutely, I'm offended for the industry.
Okay, thank you.
And we're not trying to offend
Mr. Carlson,
them.
Briefly.
We're not trying to offend them. The box says, and it's a small little box, and it says, I do not have liability insurance. That's it. It has nothing to do about amounts or anything. I have the form. That's not what it is. The point is, we want people to be protected. We want it to be safe. That's all we're trying to convey. And we're not suggesting anything else.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Carlson, and an ongoing conversation. Clearly, I might just ask Representative Wazlawik regarding this. My understanding is that it seems like there is some progress being made in conversations on the Senate side, et cetera. And so it does seem like this is something that is being worked on. This particular issue. Is that right, Representative Wazlawik?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yep, there has been ongoing conversations with the Senate author and the co-chair of the Family Child Care Task Force, Senator Kiffmeyer. So this is something that we're actively working on.
Okay, good. Thank you. So I think we're ready for member questions. And again, I'll point out that several of the pieces of this have been heard previously, and then the one piece we'll be hearing in just a moment through Representative Dameth's bill. So it's a somewhat smaller target for us. But Representative Dameth, we'll go with you. You're a member of the Family Child Care Task Force, and please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Representative Wazlawik, for being chief author on this bill. It was an honor to work on the Family Child Care Task Force. It was important work that we did. I don't specifically have a question right now, just wanted to say that I was honored to be a part of that. We know that our child care providers are essential, and that was made all the more true during the pandemic. And so to have this work specifically for this industry start prior to the pandemic, have it continue through, and then to be at this point is a great start in the right direction for childcare providers. So just wanted to make that comment.
Absolutely. Thank you. And again, thank you to you for your work, and of course to co-chair Representative Wazlawik for her work too. Members, this bill is going to be laid over for possible inclusion in our budget bill, just so we're clear on that. Looking to see if there are any other questions or comments. I don't see any. And so Representative Wazlawik will give you the closing remarks about this. And again, we're hearing different pieces in different ways, but really, really appreciate your focus on this critical part of our early care and learning industry. But yeah, anything else you want to say about the bill?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just echo sort of the comments that Representative Davis made. We did a lot of work. It was a lot of hours spent in our larger task force and in our smaller work groups, getting the work done and really digging deep on these issues. And I think the end product has really been something that's widely supported and that will make a big difference for family child care providers. So appreciate the time to have the hearing today and discuss more, and hope to see these things coming out at the end. Thank you.
Thank you so much again for your work. So with that, the chair lays over House File 2003 for possible inclusion in our committee's budget bill.